Let's give you my 3 takeaways from last night's Spurs loss to the Rockets. And should the Spurs start considering slowly cutting back Wemby's minutes?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, under the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Happy hump day, everybody. Hope you all get over that hump day here during the work week. We'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. Google Play. What else you got? Ken's 5 Plus app. YouTube. The list goes on and on. iTunes, Spotify. Yeah, so many options for you to download and check out Locked On Spurs every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easy and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Hey, so what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be looking back at yesterday's Spurs loss to the Rockets. Just 3 quick takeaways, then bring in our guest, Michael Jimenez. He's going to be joining us to discuss if the Spurs should start considering cutting back on Wemby's playing time. You'll hear why. It has a lot to do with a hectic summer. So we'll be discussing that. And then, by the way, it is his birthday. So he's going to have some Spurs-themed birthday wishes to close out the show. So see if you agree with his birthday wishes. Just a few minutes. But first, about last night. Yeah, your Spurs lost to the Houston Rockets. It was a close one, 103-101. Well, man, right there. Spurs drop to 14-52 on the season. They'll next face Denver in Austin, Texas this Friday as part of their 2-game Austin home stand up north of the state capitol. But yeah, regarding last night's Spurs loss, tough loss. I mean, they fought to the bitter end. A lot had to do with them. Well, we'll discuss that in a few seconds. But so what are some takeaways in no particular order? Shout out Trey Jones. Great game. He led the team with 24 points. He had 5 assists and 3 rebounds and 3 steals. He also connected on 4 or 7 from the 3 line. He and Sohan were pretty much the spearheads at the end of the game to close the gap. They made key shots to stay in the fight until the last second. But I mean, Trey Jones was steady force. Popovich called him a competitor, guy who'll do anything, does everything to help the Spurs win. So shout out Trey Jones. He did all he could do to keep the Spurs in the fight versus Houston just came up short. Second takeaway, cold shooting that second period. The Spurs only managed to score 17 points in the second period. Now, Houston didn't do themselves any favors either. They just scored 20 points. But nevertheless, when Houston is just barely mustering up 20 points, I mean, the first period, Rockets and the Spurs, they scored well above 20 points, 24 for Houston and 30 for San Antonio. But 17 points, not going to really help your cause, especially in today's era of the NBA where points are a premium. So Spurs really dropped the ball there. And then their defense just fell apart in the third period, allowing Houston 30-plus points, 32 points in that third period to really get things going, really separate things. But again, stagnant offense we saw in that second period. Just wasn't finding the ball wasn't finding the bottom of the rim. I mean, simple as that. I mean, Popovich pretty much subbed it up after the game saying, yeah, some teams you make shots, and that's the team that wins. And Houston made shots at critical points of the game. And finally, physicality. The Spurs did not match Houston's physicality. They were double, triple teaming Wemby, really get into the Spurs spaces, really being, just physical with them. Trey Jones talked about it after the game saying how that's just who Houston is. That's what the team they are, very physical. And they're always physical. Wemby said, yeah, that's a team that's physical with him. And the Spurs couldn't adjust to that. They couldn't match the physicality. Dylan Brooks was really bodying up Wemby. You saw players just crash into the board and, getting to the Spurs. Spurs need to work on that as their rebuild continues, this young core that is learning how to match NBA teams when they're just being simply physical. So, yeah, I mean, those are some quick takeaways. But, I mean, credit to the Spurs. Hung in there, made things interesting. You're looking at the final frame, 29-27, Spurs outscored them by 2. It just wasn't enough. again, Sohan and Trey Jones, so credit them. They were the really ones that were kind of making things interesting for the Spurs to hopefully get that win last night. Just came up short. By the way, Sohan had 21 points and 8 rebounds. And Wemby watch, he had one. He finished with 13 points and 10 rebounds. Again, a double-double, but it wasn't the level of play that many expect Wemby to do night in, night out. So he came up short for his standards. Nevertheless, a double-double. Kudos to him. But yeah, your Spurs fell short. Again, lack of matching the physicality. Tip your cap to Trey Jones for helping the team stay in it. And then offensive droughts, as we saw throughout the game, pretty much all but doomed San Antonio. All right, coming up next, we got Michael Jimenez. We're going to be asking, should the Spurs cut back Wemby's minutes? Not because, we're going to treat him with kid gloves or anything, but because of a crammed summer. And then it is his birthday. So happy birthday, Jimenez. He's going to give us his 2 Spurs-themed birthday wishes. That's coming up next, right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LEDs, headlights, so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, they got it all only at eBay Motors, and they got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for, and with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not burning cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Hey, I want to talk about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member here in San Antonio. They're located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, 281-1604 area. Head on out there right now, San Antonio, because they're open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. By the way, if you need a latte, dairy alternatives, cold brew, their signature drink called the Mudslinger. Basically, if you want it all, even drinks that'll get your day going, they'll supercharge your day, like the Red Bull Infused Lightning Bolt series. By the way, I heard they got a new flavor. Go check it out. Only at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Again, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Look, friendly staff, extensive menu. They got mini donuts as well, and they got taste for everybody. Even if you want to slow things down, like the OG OJ, you don't want all that caffeine. Try the OG OJ. Trust me, if you from the old school like me, you'll definitely love it. So go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Pick a platform, Threads, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, they are everywhere at Mudslinger SATX. Again, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now, San Antonio, because life is too short for a bland coffee.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're now joined by Michael Jimenez of, the Acquired Taste Show on the Alamo City Sports Podcast. Follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. And happy birthday, Jimenez. Happy birthday.
That's right, baby. I'm 47 years old today. Excited about that, man.
Man, are you getting worried about your 50s? Is that kind of put the fear in you, like a little bit of scare?
Hadn't even thought about it. I think you just put the fear in me right now.
There's my present gift for you.
But by the way, I am 47 on Earth, but I think in Mars I'm 25 or something like that. There's somewhere along the lines where it comes around the same way. So I'm gonna celebrate another birthday. But no, I'm 47, dude. I don't feel old. I don't feel young, but I don't feel old yet, man. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Hey, you're running marathons now. You had proof of it. You and your medal.
Well, yeah, I did a 10K a couple weeks ago, and I've done 3 half marathons after I turned 40. So I never did long distances before, but now I'm doing them now. So right. Even me and my tubby butt self can still run. So there's no excuses.
Well, we're going to give Jimenez his birthday wishes coming up soon on Locked On Spurs. What is his 2 Spurs birthday wishes? We'll be discussing that in just a few seconds. But Jimenez, before we get into your birthday celebration segment, I got to talk to you a little bit about the silver and black. And look, the season's all but done. It's over. There's really nothing to play for. No play-in inside, no playoff, no nothing. Not even sniffing the play-in tournament. Nothing. All that's left to really play for is lottery balls. Which begs the question. Something else perhaps the Spurs should be playing for is not getting Wemby injured. At this point of the season, Jimenez, is it time for the Spurs to say, you know what, Wemby, it's time to let's reel back the minutes. You're going to have a long summer. You're going to be playing for France at the Olympics, and then you got to turn right around and go into training camp. Why don't we start scaling back your minutes? Should that something the Spurs consider?
Yeah. And I hate to say it, yes, but at the same time, you have to think about the long term when it comes to Wemby. Wemby's still a very young guy, but you got to keep in mind, he played all last summer as well with that French team. They went deep into the playoffs over there. So he didn't have much of a break. Then he goes to the Las Vegas summer review, and he did that. And so it's been a long time. You don't want to have so many miles on the odometer for him. But at the same time, I still want him to win Rookie of the Year, So I don't want it to be where it's one of those things where Chet Holmgren is catching up down the stretch. I think Rookie of the Year is important, believe it or not. I think it's important for the legacy that he's creating. As long as that's locked down, you want to shut him down a little bit. I think that'd be perfectly fine. But I wouldn't go to like 15 to 18 minutes. But
no, not that.
The 24 to 26 minutes that we saw earlier in December, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think they should be topping over 30 anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I wish they would start scaling back now. Look, the Rookie of the Year title and reward is pretty much his. It's gift wrap already. It's done. It's his. He's going to win it. That's the only thing that maybe I think he would probably want to play more minutes is because he said recently his reaction to being ahead of the Rookie of the Year race is that the season's not over yet. That was his first reaction. So perhaps there's a little bit of that, but you're starting to see, a little bumps and bruises here and there. He had that shoulder thing, where I think it was at the Houston game. They were working on it. Didn't play that much minutes in the last game versus the Warriors in San Antonio. He even said, too, that he felt a little clumsy. The Spurs sat him out a couple games. So, again, I'm not saying pull him completely like Jimenez, you're saying like 15 minutes. No, I agree with you. Nothing like that. About a good 20, 25. Unless you think he still needs to prove that he is the Rookie of the Year. And then if that's the case, Jimenez, then I guess I can see why they're going to play him more. Yeah,
that's the only way that I would see it, And, I was at that game in Houston where Sengun went off for 45 points and the Spurs lost that game when they could have had their first winning streak since December of 2022. Before the game started, I saw them working on Wemby. I was sitting there on the fifth row, and they were hitting him on the shoulder trying to test it out. And he was wincing in pain when they were doing that. Went out there and played anyway and didn't look very good that game. But like you're saying, it's not so much that he has a major injury. It's the fact that if he has 3 or 4 minor injuries, it becomes a cumulative effect. He rolled his ankle, a game later. We've seen the shoulder, obviously. He stepped on a ball boy's ankle earlier this year, or that happened late in December. So a lot of these things are adding up, and it's one of those things where you're right. The season's over. He pretty much has Rookie of the Year in the bag. I think that if he goes to another 2 weeks of play, he can probably just shut it down if he wants to and still win the award. Like you mentioned, he has to prep for the Olympics, so it's just going to keep on going. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing them shut him down. We know what we have with this team. We know that the team is awful without him. We know that there are certain pieces of the puzzle that are coming alive. We've seen players like Malachi Branham come alive. We've seen Sohan improve certain parts of his game. Shooting is still questionable, but defensively he seems to be doing better. Vassell has turned into that 19-point per game kind of guy. We know what we've got. And then down the stretch, we're seeing the players like Zach Collins and Julian Champagny suddenly play like they have a pulse. Collins knocking down threes like, dude, a lot of people are down on Collins, and they very well should be. But the last 30 days or so, man, Collins has been lights out. So we know what we have, and the Spurs right now are looking forward to 1, maybe even 2 draft picks in the first round this year.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the draft.
Well, if you look at the progression in January, he was averaging about 26, 27 minutes per game.
Yeah.
Then you go to February, went up to about 29. And currently, through the few games in March, he's at 31.1 minutes per game. Jimenez, I think they're going to have to start thinking long-term, as you mentioned. And that long-term is the health of Wemby and keeping him fresh. I get it. Getting that NBA experience is valuable, even if the season is a wash. And I totally understand that. But again, I'm not saying tomorrow or the games in Austin, something. I would like to see him play extended minutes against Joker, barring any type of blowout the Spurs are going through. I would like to see that, and other games ahead. But eventually it's going to come quick where you're going to be like, okay, is this season worth putting more mileage on him? I get it. He's 20 years old. I understand that. Spurs fans, relax. I get that. But we mentioned you got to factor in Team France. He's gonna probably finish the season, probably rest a couple of weeks, Jimenez, maybe, then have to go to France, do more training camp with Team France, exhibition games with Team France, then get into the French tournament. And you can't tell me, Jimenez, he's going to go all out for Team France. He's going to want to guide them to the gold medal as best he can. And then stop and then come to San Antonio for a training camp. He's likely not going to be at Summer League. I would hope he's not at Summer League.
Right.
But that's going to be a lot in a short amount of months, Jimenez.
And it's beyond all that. The guy's a celebrity. So he's going to have public appearances here and there, especially when he goes back to France. I'm sure he may not be part of the Summer League as far as playing, but I'm sure he'll make an appearance out there because he has to do the PR not only for Team France, but for the Spurs and also for the NBA as well. So he has a full schedule ahead of him, and he needs to have some time to rest and just decompress and rest that body. I think that his medical staff has probably done a fantastic job of working with him. You see the stretching that he does before the games and he does during the game. It's a sight to see, and he's a modern marvel of medicine and how things will go. When you and I were watching basketball back in the 80s and 90s, a guy like that would not have existed. He would have broken down some way, somehow. But Wemby has a good head on his shoulders. He has a good team around him. Pop in the front office are keeping an eye on him, and they're not going to overexert him or overextend him. I'm actually surprised he played in that Rockets game in Houston.
Me too.
I am very, very, very surprised that they did that. But that was because Wemby wanted to play. And that was also a game in which he left for the locker room with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. He was walking right by me. I was like, where are you going? The team's over there. He's getting nicked up, man. And these games are meaningless. The only games that matter between now and the end of April are probably the games in Austin because they're trying to get that city to embrace the team. That's really it, man. And I think right now, don't you get the sense that Spurs fans are just tired?
Oh no, yeah. I think they're tired. Just with last season and this season, the poor records. Not really looking. The season it's so predictable now. At least in the last few years, we're young, we're getting better, we're learning, and we got to incorporate Wemby. That's been like the big thread or threads this season. Last year it was we're young, we're learning, we're young, we're learning. Same
and the
thing.
more I look at it.
Yeah.
I apologize for it.
No, go ahead.
The more I look at it with the upcoming lottery coming up, the Spurs have their own pick. As of right now, the Spurs have the tied with the best odds of winning the overall number one pick like they did last year, 14%. But when you have the third worst record, you can go anywhere between 1 and 7 in picking. And then when it comes to having Toronto's top 6 protected pick, Toronto's the 7th best record, right? A worst record. So because of that, if they move up into the top 4, the Spurs don't get it. I hate to say it because Spurs fans may not want to hear this, but I wouldn't necessarily mind it if we didn't get Toronto's pick this year. The strength of the draft.
I think Atlanta's picks next year will be better.
Yeah, Atlanta's pick will be better next year, but the 2025 draft, very much like the 23 draft, is very strong. The 24 one, there are some interesting names out there that could help the Spurs. I know a lot of Spurs fans are falling in love with Lisa Shea and falling in love with
Topic.
Nicolette with Topic and a lot of these players out there that could Dillingham that could really help this team. Reed Shepard's another one. But it's just so funny because the question is, are any of these guys stars? And there might be 2 or 3, but the 2025 draft is supposed to be a lot more star heavy. And the Spurs already have the first round draft pick of their own. They have Atlanta's unprotected pick. We have Chicago's top 10 protected pick. We have Charlotte's top 14 protected pick. And then if we have Toronto's top 6, the Spurs theoretically could have 5 first rounders, which they're not going to draft 5 first rounders, but they can package them or do something with it.
Yeah.
And this is where I go back to Brian Wright in the front office, is that they're sitting there just letting the chips fall where they may, as opposed to trying to let fate happen as opposed to trying to create your own fate. And that's the difficult part as a Spurs fan, is because Brian Wright, it's difficult. He might be doing the right thing. He might be. And it's just so difficult to watch because the Spurs have had 5 losing seasons in a row.
Absolutely. And one other thing, just before we transition to your segment, your birthday segment, currently Wemby has a usage rate of 31.8, so 32. That's high. That's very high. It's one of the higher ones in the NBA. So you got to keep that in mind. Look, again, I get it. He's young, everybody. He's, every game is valuable, regardless of the record, just for his experience. I get that. But you factor in what we've been talking about, the hectic summer he's going to have, then the quick turnaround to next season. Spurs got to start thinking about maybe, just maybe, they should start lightening his load as the season winds down. Hey, we're not done talking. When we get back, we're going to be celebrating Jimenez. It's his birthday, but he's going to give us his 2 Spurs birthday wishes. If he's blowing out those candles, what are 2 Spurs things, related things that he wants to see come true? That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to touch about PrizePicks. You got to go check out PrizePicks right now, everybody. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and quickest way to play, and exciting as well, to play DFS. And it's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than 2 to 6 players on the stat projection, and you can start watching those winnings roll in. They got it all there. Seriously. You need quick withdrawals. They got that. Easy gameplay and enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Look, PrizePicks is very simple to use. You can make your picks, submit them without entry in less than 60 seconds. And they even offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball season. And they have weekly promotions for big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. That's why you got to go and get the PrizePicks app right now. Go download it right now. I got it. You should too. Go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. The code is LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA is available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC is a registered broker-dealer. And we're back with the birthday boy himself, Mike Jimenez. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Check out his show on the Alamo City Sports Podcast Network. He'll talk about that in a moment. Maybe that'll be your present for Jimenez today. Go subscribe to the Alamo City Sports Podcast. That'll be a nice little appreciation on his birthday. But it is it's the birthday boy. He gets a little segment for himself today. But he's going to do a silver and black twist on it. So obviously he can't blow out 47 candles on the show, so we're going to limit him to 2 candles. So what are your 2 Spurs birthday wishes? I'm going to blow out the candles. B. What is on your list there, Jimenez? Give me 2.
As a Spurs fan, now I know they can't grant these birthday wishes today, but let's just say that they grant them by the beginning of the next season would be nice. First and foremost, address the point guard position. Somehow, some way address it because, I like Trey Jones. I want him on this team.
Me too.
He ain't the guy to lead you to the promised land. He's not the guy that's going to lead you to the playoffs. So I would rather the Spurs kind of focus on getting a point guard of some sort somehow, whether it be in the draft, if you get like a Nikola Topic type of player. Although Topic isn't even my guy. I like Rob Dillingham towards the for the second pick of the Spurs get Toronto's. Mm-hmm. But I think the Spurs need to address it because I know some Spurs fans want Trae Young. Others want them to go through the draft. My thing is just address it. Address it, okay? And not bring in some scrub off the waiver wire type of thing. I have somebody there that is going to be a legit point guard starting for this team long term.
Yeah.
Second birthday wish, it's kind of the dovetail from all that, is to provide Wemby some help when it comes to veterans. The Spurs need veterans next year. They next season they need to have somebody there beyond Pop wheeling out the VCR and saying, "Here's some YouTube videos."
VCR.
Yeah, like a substitute teacher, right? Here's some YouTube videos on certain players, Kevin McHale and whatnot. No, we need some veteran leadership there, traveling with the team, on the court with the team. And I know a lot of Spurs fans are like, well, we've got the brain trust of Tim, Tony, and Manu. LaMarcus Aldridge comes by, Boris Dia, all that stuff. That's great, but they don't play for the team. Okay, yeah. They don't travel with the team. They're not a coach on the team. They come up and show up every once in a while. That's not it. I want veteran leadership. Can I get a third one, please?
Okay, go ahead. It's your birthday. You get an extra one.
All right. I'm going to close my eyes. Oh, if I say it, it won't come true. Okay, so the third wish.
I wonder where this is going to be. I think I might know.
Please, Pop in the front office, unveil what the succession plan is for Pop. Tell us who's the next person in line. Is it Becky? Is it somebody already on staff? Who's the next person in line, as opposed to us trying to figure out what's going to happen when the day comes that Pop actually does retire. Because he ain't going to get fired the day that he retires.
Look, it's your birthday. These are your wishes, but I'm actually surprised a wish revolving around Sohan didn't pop up.
Oh, I know. It would have been like Sohan's effective field goal shooting could go up. That's it. But the thing is, I signed that damn form, man. I mean, he stood up to Ahmed Thompson. It, yep. I was right there in the 5th row. He stood up to Ahmed Thompson. He blew him a kiss. I got giddy in the stands there. And that was the thing. Being in enemy territory, everyone wearing red and white, and I'm there in silver and black, and he was wearing silver and black. And I was like, that's my guy. You don't mess with my player. And that was classic that it was all caught in video with my camera phone.
It's funny you mentioned we mentioned Sohan because in the game versus the Warriors in at the Frost, it was actually Sohan that was being the calm, cool, collected one with Collins. And remember that second quarter, Collins picked up 2 quick ones, and you could see Collins like resisting every ounce to go at the refs, like get in their face, not once but twice, and every time Collins was about to approach the refs, you saw Sohan wrap him up, the instigator, pull him away and be like, hey, calm down. Usually it's Collins pulling off Sohan or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I had me and Champagne, we had a chuckle about that after that Warriors game. Champagne was at his locker, and I go, hey, Julian. And he goes, what's up? I go, isn't it kind of ironic that it was Sohan being cool? And he goes, yeah. It was like, it was like what? So it was pretty interesting. But yeah, but again, happy birthday, Jimenez. Again, many happy returns. Happy 47th. Be safe, be careful, all that good stuff. But I know one way fans can give you a nice little birthday present is subscribing to the Alamo City Sports Podcast. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Alamo City Sportscast. We just celebrated this week our 100th episode.
Congratulations!
Which is nice. We restarted back in January, Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We get going around 10:15 or so. We go for about an hour 15, hour and a half. A lot of people watch it, in real time, but actually more people watch it after the fact. They're getting off of work, so we make sure that it's not dated, and it's sports. A lot of it's Spurs, NFL, college football. We have March Madness going on right now. We have a bracket for the bracket baddies, the baddie brackets. We're trying to determine the hottest female celebrity of the year 2024. It's getting down to the Sweet 16. So we have polls at MJ Acquired Taste on X on a daily basis when it comes to that. It's a fun show. Again, we're on all the major podcast platforms, but also you can subscribe to us on the Alamo City Podcast Network. It's not only our show, but we have other shows like A Generation Duo with Brandon Medina. Mm-hmm. We have Rudy Campos Jr. with his show, which is daily starting around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon as well. So we have a full-on network of programming for you guys, and it's fun times, man, and we enjoy doing what we do. We have our diehards, and you, Jeff, are also on the show very frequently, so we appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, follow Jimenez on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. We'll be back tomorrow. I believe Hector Ledesma will be joining us tomorrow. We'll be talking all things silver and black. And again, follow us on the YouTube page, Locked On Spurs on YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus, iTunes, Spotify, and then check out Locked On Sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Go subscribe to it right now. Everybody's there. Talk sports 24/7, Locked On Sports today. So for the birthday boy, Michael Jimenez, happy birthday again, Jimenez. I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.